good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to Smashing English. Before we start this video, be sure to subscribe because I make new videos all the time and I don't want you to miss any. So with that said, let's get on with the video. Today we are going to learn about makeup and all the words and verbs you need to talk about it. So I thought the best way to teach you would be to show you my everyday makeup routine. So the next time you see me, there will be no makeup on this face. So good luck. I wish you all the best. I'm sorry for the fright you're going to have, but yeah, enjoy. Terrifying, I know. Let's get some makeup on before people start throwing up, okay? Let's do it. Let's start with eyeshadow, and I'm going to be using a palette, which is how we describe eyeshadow that has a bunch of things inside of it. It's really messy, it's really dirty. Don't judge me, okay? These sorts of colours that we have here, Exhibit A, we often call them nudes because they're sort of skin tone, they're not bright colours, they're nude tones. So I've got my nude eyeshadow palette and I'm going to do a base. So the base is a colour, normally sort of, for me it's normally a cream or a white that goes on the bottom. So if you imagine a house needs a base, eyeshadow needs a base as well. And I'm using an eyeshadow brush to do this, by the way, a brush. So now that the base is on, I will put some makeup in the crease of my eyes. Now, I'm not a makeup artist, so this is probably not the best makeup routine, but I'm just here to teach you about the terms, all right? So, okay, I know it's not going to be perfect. So let's take a different eyeshadow brush and go for a slightly darker nude. So the verb that we can use for everything to do with makeup, for eyeshadow, foundation, eyebrows, we can always use the verb to apply. So I'm currently applying eyeshadow. Or more commonly, you can use the phrasal verb to put on. So I am putting on eyeshadow. That's a bit more common, a bit more native. Okay, so once it's applied, I tend to do a bit of blending. Now, blending is quite a generic verb and it just means to mix things together so that it's not a harsh line. You know, you blend things together so that there's not a distinct line where the eyeshadow starts. So just a little bit of blending. Okay, next we're going to use a little bit of gold. Sorry, all of my palettes are disgusting, by the way. Disgusting. So I love gold eyeshadow. It's my favourite. So I'm going over the brown I just did with a bit of gold and blending it towards the brow bone. So this part here, I believe, it's called the brow bone. So I want to blend it up towards there. Next, I use my ring finger, which is probably not the best tool to use, but I use a very light eyeshadow here, almost like a shimmery cream. Shimmer is a nice word you'll hear a lot in makeup. Something shimmers, it shines, it's glossy. So I use a nice shimmery colour and I just dab it right in the middle of my eyelid, because I think it just brightens up my eye a little bit. Then I do the same shade on my brow bone. Then I blend it all together. Blend, 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 blend. And that's pretty much my eyeshadow done. I will probably tweak it a little bit once the final look is finished, but I don't spend time on eyeshadow. I just can't be bothered. I don't enjoy eyeshadow. Ugh, it's the worst. Next, I use concealer. Now, concealer is this little thing and it's called a concealer because you use it to conceal, which is a verb on its own, to conceal things that you don't want to reveal. So if you conceal something, you hide it. So if you want to hide something, so for me, I like to hide my eye bags, my under eye bags, or dark circles, some people call them. So I use concealer and my beauty blender, which is also really dirty. I'm sorry, I'm disgusting. Use my beauty blender to blend it. And then we just dab, 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 dab. Okay, so I've used concealer on my under eyes. I also sometimes just put a bit of concealer there, I don't know why. And then just plop it anywhere where you see a little spot spot or something that you don't want to show anyone, so you can use concealer for anything that you just want to hide a little bit. There we go. Next, we need to apply foundation. Now, foundation is called foundation because a foundation, the noun, a foundation, means the base of something. The strong base that means you can put things on top of it. And that's what this is. It is the thing that goes all over the face, and it is the foundation for the rest of your makeup look. So again, I use my beauty blender and I slap it on. Foundation done. Now, the next step that a lot of people like to do, I don't do, but I want to teach you about it anyway. So, a lot of people use powder like this, and it's called setting powder, or transparent loose powder, or baking powder. It's got a couple different names. And what people do is they dab, 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 and they put it on their under eyes, or any place that they think it might crease, or their makeup might get a bit patchy. So you might have seen pictures of someone like Kim Kardashian with just powder underneath her eye, and that's called baking. So if she says, I'm going to bake my under eye, it means I'm going to put powder on top of my skin, and it will set the powder almost like you're baking a cake. It will keep it nice and firm. But I still want to set my foundation to make sure it is set and it's not going to move anywhere. So I use this pressed powder, and I just take a big brush, do a bit of that, and then just dab it on. Just setting the makeup with pressed powder. The next thing I like to do, as you can see, I've got sort of foundation all over my lips. So I like to use a lip scrub, which is basically lip balm and sugar. It tastes amazing. So I just scrub my lips with the sugar to get rid of the foundation that's on my lips. And it also helps your lips be nice and plump. There we go. Next up is eyebrows. Now there's a lot of different ways you can do your eyebrows. Some people use eyebrow gel, some people use an eyebrow pencil, some people tattoo their eyebrows on. I personally like to use a square brush and some eyebrow powder. Again, it's disgusting. So I've got my eyebrow powder and my eyebrow wax, which I use because it's the only way I have learned how to do my eyebrows. So I start with the wax, and what I'm doing here is a very common phrasal verb you will hear in regards to eyebrows, and it's to fill in. So to fill in your eyebrows means to fill all the parts that are empty. So if you have eyebrows that are quite sparse, there's not a lot of hair and you want to make them thicker and more dense, you fill them in. You might also hear the phrasal verb to fill in for things like forms, because you are making full all the empty parts in the form. But in this context, fill in just means to make your brows look thicker. So that's the wax done. Then I use the powder. Eyebrows done. Next, it's time for contouring. Yes, contour can be a verb, to contour, but also contour can be a noun. So you might hear something like the contours of her face. So the movements of her face, the bits that go inwards. So when we contour our face, it's basically making our face look like a different shape or it's defining, to define, to make more obvious. You're defining the lines and the shape of your face. So for example, I use a contour brush and a darker powder, and I just put that in there. Then I go like this. So do you see how I'm defining my cheekbones and everything? So that is where the word to contour comes from. So now I feel like I have more defined cheekbones. Next up we have blush for the cheeks. So red on the cheeks to make it look like you're healthy and alive and awake. Most people, well, some people will use powder blush like that. However, I use this blush, and it's like a liquid cream blush. So it's sort of a cream and you dip your finger in it and then you apply. Ah, awake, alive, refreshed. There we go. Next, we need to highlight using highlighter. So the verb to highlight using the noun highlighter. So I use that same shade that I use for my eyes and just I don't know why I do that. I saw someone do it and now I do it every day. I don't know. Then I just highlight the tip of my nose with a bit of a pinky highlighter. Just like that. Okay, now this is my favourite part of the makeup process. Eyeliner. Some people use pencil eyeliner, some people use liquid eyeliner, some people use gel eyeliner. There's lots of different ways. I like to use a pen. I think it's easy. It just looks like this. It's like you're drawing a picture. Just makes it nice and easy. And there are many different styles you can do. I always go for a winged eyeliner or a cat eye. It's the only one I know how to do and I think it looks good on me. That's the only reason. So a winged eyeliner, let's do it. That's one done. So you can see now it's called a winged eyeliner because you have a bit of a wing sticking out, and also a cat eye because it looks a bit like a cat's eye. There you go. Ta-da! Both eyes done. Next, I take my eyelash curler and I curl my eyelashes. This looks a bit like an instrument of torture to a lot of people who don't put makeup on, but I can assure you it doesn't hurt. It's very painless. And then I apply mascara. Using the mascara wand, as we call it, like Harry Potter, I put on mascara. So as you can see, that's the top lashes done. Now it's just time to do the bottom lashes. And it is impossible to do the bottom lashes without going like this. Ta-da! Okay, we're nearly done, I promise. Next, I go back to my eyeshadow palette from the beginning and I take the same colour that is on my eyes and I put it on my lash line, which is the bottom of your eye. But I only do it halfway. Then I take this shade, the one that's on my cheeks, and I put it in the middle, in the corner of my eye, in the inner corner of my eye. Okay, finally, we need to do lips. Now, there are lots of different options for lips. I always like to line my lips with a lip liner. You are literally drawing the outline of your lips on your lips. Some people like to overline their lips, which is drawing a line higher than your actual lip line to make your lips look bigger, juicier, more plump. But today I'm just going to draw the actual line of my lips. So once we've done the lip liner, we have a few different options. You can use lip gloss, which is the shiny stuff. You can use a lipstick, which can be a bit more matte. But I like to use this. It's like a chunky lip stick, but I wouldn't call it a lipstick. It's more of a creamy lip something. Basically a creamier version of a lipstick. And then the final thing I do is use setting spray. So this is a spray that you spray all over your face to set your makeup and make sure it doesn't move and make sure it doesn't run or smudge. Notice, by the way, how the verb and the noun are the same. So this is a spray, but the verb is to spray. Easy peasy. So let's spray. Just let that dry. And there you have it, a full face of makeup. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you want to follow my Instagram, the link for that is down below. And also down below, there is a link if you want to have a one-to-one online English lesson with me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta!